Now, here's some things to contemplate. If you admire someone, the reason you admire them is because you can see in their behavior the manifestation of that spirit. And your admiration is actually a reflection of the instinct that orients you in the world. And so if you don't know how to act, like we all don't, and you are called to attend to someone who you admire, that's the part of you that wants to develop and to embody that spirit, gripping you and your attention, showing you that that's the pathway. And that's someone like that is a leader, not because they use force. A tyrant uses forces, but because they use example. And because the example serves the horizontal axis and the vertical axis specifically, and the example calls to those who see the example. And that's actually what you're called to do. To not hide your light under a bushel, right? To be a light on the hill instead. And that means to act in a manner that is an example to others. And all that's dead, solid, real as far as I can tell. I know that the instinct to admire is a variation of the instinct for awe. The awe you experience when you look up at the night sky. The awe that strikes you when you see something unbearably beautiful or hear that. The awe that grips you in a sports stadium when you see someone unbelievably disciplined and creative hit the target in a spectacular manner. That's all an orienting instinct, and it's extremely old. You know, the instinct for awe is associated with the reflex of piloerection. You know, if you look up at the night sky, you hear something particularly beautiful, piece of music, the hair on the back of your neck might stand up. You get chills. The reason that happens is because your hair stands up. And you might ask, well, why does your hair stand up? And the answer is, well, have you ever seen a cat when it's surprised by a dog? Like, what happens? The cat just puffs right up. It's one of the great things about cats, that they do that. Then they dance sideways to look bigger. They're sneaky that way. And we know that instinct to experience the awe that a cat might experience, let's say, if it sees a wolf, that's 60 million years old. And we know that your instinct to admire is a derivation of that instinct. This is not some cognitive construct that's arbitrary. This is one of the deepest possible reflections of your soul or of your biology. You can have it both ways if you want. So that's all worth knowing, you know. And then I'll run you through a little bit of another story or two. So what happens in the biblical corpus is that it's an exploration of the nature of this spirit, right? We already defined what that might mean. Pattern you would act out, pattern that would shape your perceptions. And it's a set of narrative hypotheses or characterizations of that spirit. And so I'll just walk you through that quickly. You'll see what I mean quite rapidly, I think. So in the story of Noah is presented as a man wise in his generations. And so what that really means is that for his time and place, he's someone who's got it together. He has the limitations of his time and place, like we all do, but given those limitations, he's on the right track. And he has this intuition, the Spirit calls to him and says, the storms are coming there, buddy. You better build something that can take you and the world through the flood. And then, you know, a modern person would say, well, nothing like that ever happened. And a wiser person would say, that's always happening. And point out as well that you don't have to abide by that spirit. You don't have to listen when the best part of you tells you that you should shape the hell up and build something lasting so that your family and your society can survive. You could ignore that. That's a rejection of a certain spirit. Or you can abide by it, which means to cooperate with it and to allow it to inhabit you and to move forward with faith in the knowledge that your intuition, given your wisdom, is a valid guiding pattern. That's faith. Like, faith isn't the willingness to believe in fairy tales as if they're the same as a videotape. It's a kind of courage. It's a choice as well. And you're stuck with the choice of faith because something is going to guide you. Or maybe many fragmented things guide you. Those are your options. Or if nothing guides you, well, then you're so depressed you can't even move. And you won't even want to live. So, depression, that's one option. Fragmentation, that's another. Another is something like a unifying central vision that quells your anxiety and provides you with hope and unifies people. That's the whole landscape right there. And you're going to pick one of those because there's no other options. So that's the story of Noah. And then in the next story, that's the Tower of Babel, God is presented as something that's transcendent. It's vague. But then human beings start to build a structure. And they want to build a structure that replaces God, to reach to the heavens. It's a totalitarian enterprise. The idea is that we can build something technological that replaces the infinite, to make it finite, to make it within our grasp, right? And then worship that, or worship the construction of our own Luciferian intellect, let's say, our own technological prowess. And God is presented as the Spirit that says, that will take you so sideways that you won't even be able to understand what each other are saying. And that's where we're at now, because we can make a documentary called What is a Woman? And the reason that we can make that documentary and that people watch it is because we are so fragmented by Luciferian presumption that we no longer speak the same language. So, and you can decide for yourself if you think that's